G'day everyone, we're off on more cheese making, and today we're doing a really quick recipe which I believe is meant to turn out quite well. It's an old traditional type way of making cheese, and it's generally termed nowadays as farmhouse cheddar, even though it doesn't involve any cheddaring. Now, cheddaring is where you cut the curd into slabs and you stack it up and let it drain. We don't do that with this, but it takes a grand total of 4.5 hours to make this cheese, which is really quick. So what do we need? We need 8 litres of milk. We've actually got 9 in there, but that's near enough. We need a mesophilic culture. We need half a teaspoon of calcium chloride, half a teaspoon of rennet, both of those in 1/4 cup, diluted into 1/4 cup of non-chlorinated water, so it's just water that I've boiled and let cool. Of course, we need our normal tools: thermometer, whisk, teaspoon measure, cheese spoon, cheese harp, and cheese knife, and we can get on with it. So, we've emptied our milk into our pot, and we're bringing it up to 32 degrees C, very slowly. Now, we'll have to whisk this with our sterile whisk to try and get all of the cream dissolved as usual, because it's non-homogenised milk, which is what we need for cheese making. So currently we're sitting at about 18 degrees or so, so it's slowly getting there, just very slowly heating it up. So we'll heat this up and come back when it's at 32 degrees. So let's prepare our calcium chloride, half a teaspoon. There we go. And we shall leave the bottle in front of it so we know which one's which. Give our rennet a really good shake. And let's get half a teaspoon of rennet. Put that on. There we go. So they're now prepared. Let's check our temperature again. Okay, it's about 28 degrees. Give it another mix. Quite large lumps of cream in there, which we need to get dissolved into the milk. So it's just got a little over 32 degrees, so it's a little bit warm. But I just thought I'd explain. I use 2 thermometers. I use this little dial one to give me a general idea of what's happening with the temperature, but it's nowhere near accurate enough. So I use the digital one for when I want it, when it's close, and I can tell how it's going a little bit closer. So now we need 1/8 of a teaspoon of this MO030 culture. Let's have a look. Yes, it's getting rather empty. We'll sprinkle that on top. We're going to leave that for a couple of minutes, and then we'll do our calcium chloride. We've let the culture rehydrate for about 5 minutes. Now we're going to add our calcium chloride, and we're going to stir that through for about a minute-ish, from top to bottom like so. And once we've done this, we're going to let it ripen for 45 minutes.
What does ripen mean?
Ripen means for the culture to actually grow within the milk. So if you say something is rather ripe, you can mean it's off. And that's basically what we're doing, is we're putting bacteria into the milk to make it go off, but a controlled off. Haven't you ever heard the expression, "Ooh, he's ripe"? Means they smell. Okay, we'll set the timer for 45 minutes. We have our rennet, which we're going to put in now after letting it ripen for 45 minutes. So we shall pour that in, and we give it a stir for no more than 1 minute. It's now going to set for the next 45 minutes. We'll check it for a nice clean break, and if it's ready, we'll move to the next step. 45 minutes later, we'll check for a clean break. So we stick our knife in and we just lift it up, and you can see that is breaking beautifully. Nice clean break. So now we get our sterilised cheese harp. We'll just drop it in and cut the curd into 1/2 inch pieces. No, you can't have any. Ooh, spinning around in there. A little floaty in there. So that's done those cuts. Now we'll cut it the other way. In the good old days, people just got their fingers and ran through. So if we really want to do a proper farmhouse, we just get our fingers and go. Nah, maybe not. So we cut the curds into 1/2 inch cubes, about 12 mil. Can't be that accurate. And now we're going to bring the temperature up very, very slowly to 38 degrees. So we'll put it on our smallest burner at the lowest heat, and we're going to stir occasionally just to stop it from clumping. So at the moment we're sitting at 32 degrees-ish, 31.5 degrees, which is pretty close to what we wanted. And we will slowly bring it up to temperature whilst giving it a bit of a stir. So there we go. We can see all the cubes of curd. We cut any large ones in half. So as we can see, I've got a few large cubes there, but not many. And we're just going to be stirring it to stop it clumping together. So we'll keep an eye on that temperature, very close eye on that temperature. That cheese harp does a good job. And every couple of minutes we'll just check the temperature and give it a stir. We're now up to 38 degrees, and I'll just check it again. A little bit over, I think, 39 degrees. That's okay. We're going to now stop stirring. We've only been stirring every few minutes, not all the time. We'll cover it up, heat's off, and just let it sit for 5 minutes. We have a cheesecloth lined colander, that was hard to say, which we're now going to put our curds in. So we're just going to ladle them out. You'd love this, wouldn't you? So I'll finish ladling this in, let it sink down a bit so I can fit it all. Then we're just going to hang it from the cheesecloth, tied up in a bundle, over the pot and let it drain for another hour. They've been draining for an hour now, so we're going to empty the curd into the pots. They were collecting the whey, but we've tipped that out already. And we had to do 2 colanders of it because there was a fair bit. It was overflowing. So let's pop these back in. We've got nice clean hands. In it goes. Make sure we get all of the curds out. There we go. Pop that out of the way. We need to add 2 tablespoons of salt, non-iodized salt. People use cheese salt, but I just use standard cooking salt. It's cheap and readily available. So 2 tablespoons. Just check that because we don't want to over salt it. 2 tablespoons. You are intrigued, aren't you, dog? And now we're going to mill it together into walnut-sized pieces. Okay, we're milling the salt through here. Still a fair bit of whey coming out of it. We want to make sure we've got the salt milled through really well. And as we break it up, a bit more whey is coming out. And there it is. Right, this has been sprayed down with alcohol. We're going to get one of our cheesecloths we were using earlier and place it in. And now we're going to fill it up. I'll actually put that inside another pot because it's dripping. It'll fit. It's going to be squashed. Now a lot of moisture is going to come out of this, as you can see. So we've got to do our initial pressing, and that is 10 minutes at 5 kilos, I think it was. No, 5 kilos for 10 minutes. So we'll just put our cheesecloth in. Place our follower on top, and I'll push it down a bit so we can actually get our lid on. There it is. And we just want 5 kilos on there. So let's have a look at our, there we go, it's just over 5 kilos on it. I might actually just do a fraction more. And you can see how much is coming out of this. We'll let this press for 10 minutes. We'll flip it over, another 10 minutes at 5 kilos, and then it's the overnight pressing. Right, we've got to very carefully turn the cheese. Let's get our follower out. We'll take it out of our press. And it won't be holding together terribly well, I don't think. So very, very careful. Only just together. The dog is trying to get to it. There we go. Spread that back out at the bottom. Very carefully turn it over. We're going to do another 10 minutes at 5 kilos. Here it goes. Fold our gloss over the top like so. In 10 minutes, we'll be back for its final flip and its final pressing. You definitely can't have any yet. So a correction. It was 10 kilos for the second pressing. So first kilo for 10 minutes is 5 kilos. Second pressing for 10 minutes is at 10 kilos. So let's get it out, and we've got our final pressing to do. And the shape is a little better. We've lost a lot of that unevenness, but it'll still be very fragile. So let's carefully take it out. Open the cheesecloth up. Don't you lick that, dog. I'm going to flip it over. Looking very rustic on there, isn't it? Over she goes. Now I'm going to put the pressure on like that, so we get a nice flat top on it this time. Back in it goes. I'll just move the cheesecloth around so that our thread doesn't get tangled up in all the cheesecloth. There we go. Now we've got to wind it all the way up to 25 kilos, which is at the absolute maximum of this press. Which is probably why, if we're going to continue making lots of cheese, I should get a better press. spent a fortune on my mushroom stuff. Why not spend a bit on my cheese? What do you reckon? Let me know in the comments if you think I should get a better cheese press. Mind you, this has been doing a great job for a beginner's cheese kit, don't you think? Alright, that's 20. Might have a look around, see how much I can get a cheese press for. And I'm just guessing that is about 25 because it's only marked up to 20. So we'll just give it a little bit more. There we go. That should be somewhere around 25 kilos, 12 hours like this, then we'll take it out for drying. Oh, you want cheese? Not yet. The overnight pressing is finished, so we're going to take our cheese out, and what we need here is something to drain into. We've got a little bamboo mat, and we shall take it out of our press. There we go. So, out he comes. Dun dun dun. There we are. Let's get our follower off. We can, without damaging things too much. We've got a bit of a lip there, which we shall trim off, because it's going to be impossible to wax. And you can have that. So let me just grab a knife. We'll trim that excess off where it's come up around the edge. You're looking forward to this, aren't you, Rufus? Oops, that's a bit deep. Right, so now we've got a nice edge for waxing, and we've got a little sample for the dog. And there we go. That's actually, looks like it's come out pretty nice. It's stuck a little bit. That's odd, I've never had that before. Pulled little chunks out, but not to worry. The wax will cover it. Get our mat, and there it is. It's got to sit out for about 4 days, drying. We'll turn it at least 2 or 3, probably 4 times a day, just to make sure it's not pooling underneath. And then we'll wax it. But that's it. So what do you reckon? Farmhouse cheddar, really quick to make. Bit odd how it hasn't formed fully around some of the sides, like here. But that's not going to affect the cheese overall. We're going to try and leave it as long as we possibly can, at least 3 months. Hopefully we'll save half for a year and try a proper vintage farmhouse cheddar. If you've got a cheese press that you swear by, or you've got a cheese press you swear at, let me know in the comment, because this has been great. Mad Millie cheese press, beginner's kit, but I think I should really be looking at something better because of the amount of cheese we're making. So if you want to see how this tastes, it's going to be a long wait. But remember, like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. You guys enjoy life. I'll feed some more to the dog, and I'll catch you in the garden.